Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever been told, "You're just overthinking it. It's all in your head. Just relax, you worrying too much"? And in that moment, did you feel unseen, invalidated, or even ashamed for feeling the way you do? Like somehow, the pounding heart, the racing thoughts, the tight chest were just imaginary. Well, here's a truth that might shake you. Anxiety isn't just in your head. It's in your body. It's in your breath. It's in your nervous system. It's in the way your brain, at some point, learned to protect you, even when there's no real danger in sight. Now take a second and really let that sink in. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You're not weak. And more importantly, you're not alone. In fact, millions of people who smile at work, who hold their families together, who lead teams, raise kids, run businesses, quietly carry this weight. This invisible tension that tightens around the chest without warning. That voice that whispers worst-case scenarios when all you want is a quiet mind. But what if I told you anxiety is not your enemy? What if I told you it's a signal, not a sentence? Today, we're going to unpack a truth that the world has long misunderstood, and one that has the power to shift your entire relationship with anxiety. Not to scare you, not to throw around clinical jargon, but to bring you into a space of clarity, compassion, and most of all, hope. Because when you understand what anxiety really is, you stop fighting yourself. You stop labeling yourself as too emotional, too much, or not strong enough. And instead you start listening. You begin healing. Let me ask you something else. What if your anxiety isn't a malfunction, but a learned survival pattern that simply needs rewiring? What if your body is not betraying you, but doing exactly what it was trained to do: protect you at all costs? You see, no one talks about this. No one teaches us that anxiety lives in the body, not just the brain. That it gets stored in our muscles, our breath, our gut, even our posture. We grow up thinking we're just as sensitive, when in reality, we've just never been taught how to regulate our nervous system, how to recognize our internal signals without fear, how to return to safety from the inside out. And that's exactly what this video is about. We're going to dive deep. We're going to strip away the shame. We're going to explore why anxiety feels so overwhelming and how you can start relating to it in a whole new way. You don't need to conquer anxiety. You don't need to pretend it doesn't exist. And you definitely don't need to power through it like a robot. What you need is a pause, a breath, a space to finally say, "I see what's happening inside me, and I want to understand it." And maybe for the first time, you'll stop seeing anxiety as something to hide and start seeing it as a doorway back to yourself, to your truth, to a version of you that is calm, confident, and deeply connected to your inner power. So if you're still with me, take a deep breath right now. Inhale peace, exhale pressure. Let this moment be your turning point. Not just another video you watch and forget, but a real, grounded beginning. Because the truth is, the life you want, the calm, the clarity, the confidence, it's not found in perfection. It's found in presence. And today, right here with me, you've already taken your first step toward that presence. So let's begin together. Let's start with a truth that most people completely misunderstand. Anxiety is not just in your head. It's not just negative thinking. It's not something you can just snap out of. And if you've ever tried, you know that already. So what is anxiety then? It's a full body experience. It's the tightness in your chest that creeps in without warning. It's your heart pounding like a drum even when you're just sitting on the couch. It's that shallow, rapid breathing like your lungs forgot how to relax. Have you ever laid in bed, exhausted, begging your brain to shut up, but your body refuses to let you rest? That's not in your imagination. That's your nervous system stuck in survival mode. Let me explain. Your nervous system has two main gears: fight or flight, and rest and restore. When you're truly in danger, say, a car swerves toward you or someone shouts aggressively, Your body flips into fight or flight. Your heart races. Muscles tense. Digestion pauses. Your body floods with adrenaline. It's an ancient mechanism designed to keep you alive. But here's the problem. For many of us, that switch gets stuck. Our bodies stay in fight or flight, even when there's no real threat. Why? Because your body doesn't know the difference between a real danger and a remembered one. Let me say that again. Your body reacts not to reality, but to what it perceives as reality. And if your body has learned through past trauma, chronic stress, or emotional wounds that the world isn't safe, it starts to sound the alarm all the time. You walk into a room and feel on edge even though everyone's smiling. You open an email and your stomach drops even if it's just a newsletter. You lie awake at night with this weight on your chest and no clear reason why. Has that ever happened to you? That's because anxiety isn't just mental noise. It's your body trying to say, "Hey, I don't feel safe." But here's where things get even deeper. Sometimes the danger is long gone. Sometimes what your body is reacting to is a memory, a feeling, a wound. You see, your nervous system doesn't operate on logic. It doesn't ask, "Is this reasonable? Am I overreacting?" It simply responds based on patterns it has learned. Maybe it's from a childhood where you were constantly walking on eggshells. Maybe it's from a job where you were always one step away from being criticized. Maybe it's from a relationship where love came with fear, unpredictability, or silence. Whatever the reason, the truth is this: your body keeps score. Even when your mind forgets. Even when you tell yourself, "I'm fine." Even when you smile and say, "It's all good." Your body knows. And it remembers. That's why sometimes anxiety shows up out of nowhere. You're not broken. You're not dramatic. You're not overreacting. You're carrying unprocessed signals that your body never got to complete. So what do we do with that? Do we suppress it? Distract ourselves? Try harder to be normal? No. We listen. Because that tight chest, that racing heart, that lump in your throat, it's not trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you. It's saying, "Something doesn't feel safe. I need your attention." And guess what? When you start to respond to your body with curiosity instead of criticism, everything changes. So instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" try asking, "What is my body trying to tell me right now? What need isn't being met? What fear is still living inside me, unspoken?" That's where healing begins. Because healing isn't about forcing your body to be calm. It's about creating the conditions for calmness to arise naturally. Sometimes that means slowing down. Sometimes it means breathing deep, with intention. Sometimes it means walking outside, putting your hand on your heart, and whispering, "You're safe. I've got you now." And the more often you do that, the more your nervous system learns a new pattern. One that says, "I'm not in danger. I'm okay now. I can let go." That's how we shift from survival to presence, from chaos to clarity, from constant anxiety to inner peace. Not overnight, not perfectly, but progressively, one breath at a time. Let's talk about something that might completely change the way you see anxiety. What if I told you your anxiety isn't a flaw? It isn't a malfunction. It's not your body turning against you. In fact, it's the opposite. Your body isn't betraying you. It's trying to protect you. Yeah, I know that might sound hard to believe at first. Because when you're lying in bed with your heart pounding and your chest tightening, it doesn't feel like protection, right? It feels like chaos, like panic, like you're losing control. But here's what most people don't understand, and what I wish I'd learned years ago. Anxiety is a protective reflex, but it's reacting to the wrong thing. Let me explain. Imagine you have a friend who loves you deeply, but is overly anxious, over the top, and completely unable to tell the difference between real threats and harmless moments. They show up uninvited every time you're about to do something new. A job interview, a first date, sending an important email, even taking a vacation. And they whisper, "Be careful. Remember last time? You know how badly that went. Don't let your guard down again." That's anxiety. It's like this overprotective friend living inside your nervous system. Its job, keep you alive. Its method, anticipate danger at all costs. And guess what? At some point in your life, that reflex did protect you. Maybe when you were a kid and the environment around you wasn't stable. Maybe in a past relationship where you had to constantly read the room to avoid conflict. Maybe in a workplace that rewarded hypervigilance and punished vulnerability. Your body learned, if I stay alert, if I brace for the worst, maybe I can stay safe. And so now, even though the environment has changed, your nervous system hasn't gotten the memo. It's still reacting to past experiences, not present reality. Can you relate? You finally find yourself in a calm, loving relationship, but you're still waiting for the other shoe to drop. You walk into a room full of kind people, but your shoulders are still tense, like you're about to be attacked. You achieve success, and instead of feeling proud, you feel like a fraud, waiting for it all to fall apart. That's not weakness. That's not you being too sensitive. That's your nervous system doing its job just a little too well. Here's the truth. Your anxiety is outdated software. It's running on old data. It's reacting to a world that no longer exists, but your body doesn't know that yet. So the question becomes, how do you update the system? How do you help your body realize, hey, it's okay now. I'm not in danger anymore? Well, the first step is understanding. Because when you understand that anxiety is a misdirected reflex, not a sign that you're broken, you stop blaming yourself. You stop the shame spiral. You stop thinking, why am I like this? And instead start asking, what is this feeling trying to protect me from? What past experience is it trying to prevent from happening again? That question changes everything. Because now, instead of fighting your anxiety, you begin to dialogue with it. You begin to say, thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you're trying to help, but I'm okay now. I've grown. I've healed, and I don't need to brace for impact anymore. Can you imagine what it would feel like to stop running from anxiety and start partnering with it? To treat it not like a monster, but like a child that's scared and just wants reassurance? Because that's what it is. It's a part of you, not all of you. And it's looking for your presence, not your punishment. The truth is, most of us were never taught how to regulate our nervous systems. We were taught to hustle, to perform, to keep it together, to suppress what we feel, and push through the panic. But that only deepens the loop. What heals anxiety isn't resistance. It's recognition. It's regulation. It's the slow, intentional process of showing your body, this moment is not that moment. You are not in that story anymore. Sometimes that looks like breath work. Sometimes it's walking barefoot in the grass. Sometimes it's journaling through the fear, or sitting in silence and placing your hand on your chest. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. And over time, something beautiful happens. Your body starts to trust you. It begins to release its grip. And the noise that once felt deafening begins to soften. That's the journey. Not to eliminate anxiety completely, but to change your relationship with it. To go from being a victim of your patterns to becoming a calm, conscious participant in your healing. So the next time anxiety shows up, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what's this feeling trying to protect me from? What part of me still thinks it's in danger? And how can I remind myself that I'm safe now? Because you are. You are safe. You are seen. And you are stronger than you think. Here's something that might stop you in your tracks. Not all trauma is remembered, but almost all trauma is remembered by the body. So if you've ever felt anxious for no reason, if your heart starts racing, your chest tightens, or your stomach drops even though nothing seems wrong, you're not imagining things. You might just be remembering without knowing it. Because here's the hard, hidden truth. Your body remembers what your mind has tried to forget. Let's be clear, not everyone who struggles with anxiety has lived through obvious trauma. There's no need to compare wounds. But so many people carry unresolved pain from the past, and they don't even realize it. Because trauma isn't always about a single big, dramatic event. It's not always a car crash, or abuse, or war. Sometimes, trauma is the quiet absence of safety. It's being a child who never felt truly seen. It's hearing you're too sensitive over and over until you believed your emotions were wrong. It's being constantly criticized or simply never being comforted. Tiny moments repeated over time can wire your nervous system to live in survival mode. And as an adult, you might think, I had a pretty normal childhood. But inside, your body says something different. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a strong emotional reaction and couldn't explain why? Maybe someone used a certain tone of voice and suddenly your chest tightened. Maybe you were in a room full of people and felt like you didn't belong, even though no one excluded you. Maybe you got feedback at work and spiraled into shame or panic when it was just a suggestion. That's not you being irrational. That's not you being too much. That's your body reliving something old, something unprocessed, something unresolved. Because here's the truth no one taught us in school. Your nervous system doesn't tell time. It doesn't know the difference between what happened 20 years ago and what's happening right now. If something in the present feels like a past wound, your body responds like the wound is happening again. It's not personal. It's neurological. There's a powerful book called The Body Keeps the Score. And the title says it all. Your body keeps score. Every time you felt unloved. Every time you were afraid to speak up. Every time you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, your body made note. And now, even if your mind has blocked it out, your breath, your muscles, your gut, your posture, they haven't forgotten. That's why telling someone just think positive when they're anxious doesn't work. Because anxiety isn't just a mindset issue, it's a nervous system issue. The work isn't just about positive thoughts. It's about teaching your body how to feel safe again. That's where the healing begins. And here's the beautiful part. Even if you don't remember exactly what hurt you, even if you don't know the story or the source, you can still heal. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to go digging through every memory. Because healing doesn't always come from knowing what happened. Sometimes, it comes from giving your body what it never received. Safety, gentleness, compassion, permission to feel. So what does that look like in daily life? It's choosing to slow down when your instinct is to push through. It's putting your hand on your chest and saying, I'm here. I've got you. It's breathing deep into your belly when fear rises for no clear reason. It's learning to recognize when your body is saying, I've been here before, and it hurt. And then reminding yourself, but this time I am safe. This time, I can choose differently. Healing is possible. It's not easy. It's not linear. But it's real. And it starts not with fixing yourself, but with reconnecting to yourself. Because your anxiety, it's not trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect the part of you that's still hurting. It's a call for care. And now you're finally listening. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough in the world of personal development. Positive thinking is not a cure for anxiety. Now don't get me wrong. Having a positive mindset can be powerful. It can help you reframe your story. It can help you find hope in dark seasons. And yes, it can even create shifts in your perspective and your habits. But here's the truth that no affirmation coach will tell you. You can't just think your way out of a nervous system that's still stuck in survival. Let me ask you, have you ever had a panic attack and tried to repeat, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm safe? But no matter how many times you said it, your heart still raced, your breath still shortened, your hands still trembled, your body felt like it was in a war zone and your brain was too foggy to talk it down. That's not weakness. That's biology. You see, positive affirmations only work when your body is calm enough to receive them. But when your nervous system is dysregulated, when it's in full-blown fight or flight, your brain literally can't process logic. That's not your fault. That's neuroscience. So what can you do when mindset isn't enough? You go under the mindset. You go to the source. You support the system that carries your emotions, your body. Because healing anxiety isn't just about changing your thoughts. It's about helping your body feel safe enough to believe those thoughts. Let me put it like this. Saying I'm safe to yourself is like giving directions to someone who's panicking in a burning building. What they need first is not a lecture, but a way out. A rope, a hand, a breath of air. That's what your body needs too. So how do you create that internal exit? How do you help your body remember that it's not in danger anymore? You begin with tools that speak the language of the body. Here are a few powerful examples, and I encourage you to reflect as I go. 1. Deep belly breathing. Ever notice how we breathe when we're calm? It's slow, deep, and through the belly. But when we're anxious, our breath gets shallow and fast, chest-focused. Training yourself to breathe deeply into your diaphragm sends a direct signal to your nervous system. You're safe. You don't need to run. Try it right now. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 6. Feels different already, doesn't it? 2. Mindful movement. Sometimes you don't need more stillness, you need gentle movement. Yoga, stretching, slow walking, even shaking your arms out or rolling your shoulders. When energy gets trapped in your body during stress, movement is how you release it. You're not running away, you're moving through it. 3. Mindfulness and meditation. This doesn't have to be complicated or spiritual. It can be as simple as sitting still for 5 minutes and paying attention to your breath, or the sounds around you, or just scanning your body and asking, what do I feel right now? It's not about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing them without judgment. That's how you break the loop of fear. By watching it, not by becoming it. 4. Journaling without judgment. Grab a pen and write exactly what you're feeling. No filter. No fixing. Just let it out. Raw and real. You'd be surprised how powerful it is to give your emotions a home on paper instead of letting them spin endlessly in your mind. And over time, that clarity becomes healing. 5. Cold exposure or warm showers. Yep, your shower can be a healing tool. Cold water activates your vagus nerve, which is key in regulating your nervous system. It can snap your body out of fight or flight and back into the present, not into freezing. A warm bath can do the opposite, soothing your muscles, slowing your heart rate, and signaling that it's safe to relax. 6. Vagus nerve stimulation techniques. Humming, gargling, singing. Yes, seriously. These simple practices stimulate the vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem to your gut. When activated, it helps regulate anxiety, digestion, even your heart rhythm. You don't need fancy tech, just your voice and a few minutes. Now hear me clearly. None of these practices are about fixing you, because you're not broken. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the part of you that always knew peace, but forgot how to feel it. So next time you feel overwhelmed, don't just repeat affirmations. Don't just tell yourself to be strong. Instead, breathe, move, feel, listen, hold space, and remind your body you're safe now. Let me ask you something real. What if your anxiety wasn't a flaw? Wasn't a disorder? Wasn't something wrong with you at all? What if instead of being a problem, your anxiety was a message? What if it was your body, your soul, your inner compass trying to get your attention? Not to punish you, not to scare you, but to wake you up. Think about this. What if anxiety shows up when you've been saying yes to things your heart is screaming no to? What if it's the way your body says, I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired of pretending, I'm stretched too thin, and nobody sees it? Anxiety might not be a malfunction. It might just be a signal telling you that something in your life is out of alignment. And the more you ignore it, the louder it becomes. Let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed how anxiety creeps in after long periods of self-neglect? Like after you've been working late for weeks without rest, saying yes to every request to avoid disappointing others, smiling through situations that secretly drain you. And then suddenly, boom, your chest tightens, your thoughts race, your heart won't slow down. You think, what's wrong with me? But maybe the better question is, what part of me have I been ignoring? Because here's a perspective that changed everything for me. Anxiety is not the enemy. It's the alarm. And what does an alarm do? It goes off when something needs your attention. It doesn't mean the whole building is burning down. It just means, hey, something's not right. Please check in. Now imagine this. You're living a life that looks fine on the outside. But deep down, you're running on empty. You're working a job that pays the bills but kills your spirit. You're surrounded by people, yet you feel unseen. You're constantly busy but never really present. And suddenly, anxiety shows up. It's not random. It's not an overreaction. It's your inner system saying, "This isn't working. This isn't who I am. Please listen." So the question becomes, are you listening? Or are you suppressing it, dismissing it, drowning it in distractions, caffeine, endless scrolling? Because the truth is, what you don't feel you can't heal. And anxiety is often the first sign that something deeper needs your attention. Here's the good news. Once you stop seeing anxiety as a flaw and start seeing it as a signal, you shift from powerless to powerful. You go from "what's wrong with me" to "what is this trying to teach me?" That shift in mindset, that's where healing begins. So here's a question worth sitting with. What is your anxiety trying to tell you right now? Maybe it's saying, you need more rest, not more productivity. You're not being honest with yourself. You've been pouring into everyone else and leaving yourself empty. You're exhausted from trying to be someone you're not. Oof, that one hits hard, doesn't it? Anxiety often comes when we abandon our truth, when we live out of alignment, when we betray our needs just to keep the peace or meet expectations. So if you're feeling anxious right now, pause, and instead of fighting it, ask it, what are you trying to show me? Don't try to silence it. Invite it in, not because you enjoy the discomfort, but because within the discomfort lies the direction. Let me tell you something I wish someone had told me earlier. Anxiety is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's your body's way of begging you to come home to yourself, to slow down, to reconnect, to choose differently. Because deep inside you, there's a version of you who remembers what it feels like to live in peace, in alignment, in authenticity. That version of you is still there, still waiting, still whispering through the noise. So today, I challenge you, don't just numb your anxiety. Don't just manage it like it's an annoying roommate. Listen to it. Sit with it. Walk with it. Let it lead you back to the places in your life that need healing. And when you do, you'll find that anxiety doesn't have to control your life. It can actually guide you to a better one. So the next time anxiety knocks on your door, don't slam it shut. Open it gently and ask, what are you here to teach me today? That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's the path back to yourself. Here's a powerful truth you might not have heard before. Anxiety thrives in isolation, but it heals in connection. Let that sink in. Because I know when anxiety hits, your instinct might be to pull away, to hide, to cancel plans, to put on the "I'm fine" mask and pretend everything's okay. Sound familiar? You're not alone in that. When we're anxious, we don't want to be seen. We feel fragile, messy, embarrassed even. We think, I don't want to burden anyone. No one would understand. It's easier to deal with this on my own. But here's the twist. The very thing we avoid connection is often the medicine we need the most. Think about it. Have you ever had a day where your anxiety felt so loud you could barely function? And then, one deep conversation with someone who truly listened, and the tension started to melt away? That's not magic. That's neuroscience. That's healing in real time. Because something incredible happens when you're witnessed without judgment, without fixing, without performance. When someone looks you in the eyes and says, "Me too," or simply "I'm here." We are wired for connection. It's how we've survived as a species. And yet in the age of hyperproductivity and social media highlight reels, so many of us suffer in silence. We isolate when we're anxious, thinking it will protect us. But it only makes the anxiety grow louder. Shame grows in silence, but it dies in presence. And anxiety often carries with it a layer of shame. Shame that we're not together enough. Shame that we can't just be happy. Shame that we're not as calm as we pretend to be. But shame can't survive when it's brought into the light. And that light is connection. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly honest with someone safe? Not the kind of "I'm fine" conversation where you switch to autopilot. I mean the kind where you say, "Actually, today's been hard," or "I've been feeling anxious and I don't know why." Do you have someone like that? If not, you deserve to. And if you do, use that connection. Nourish it. Let it hold you. This doesn't mean dumping all your emotions on every friend or family member. It means finding those few people who can hold space for your truth. Maybe it's a close friend, a therapist, a support group, an online community, or maybe even a stranger who simply listens without trying to fix. Healing doesn't always require advice. Sometimes it just needs a witness. And here's the thing. You are not a burden. You are a human being having a very real experience. You have the right to be seen, to be supported, to say, "I'm struggling," without shame. Because guess what? The people around you are also carrying their own silent struggles. And when you show up vulnerably, you give them permission to do the same. That's the beautiful paradox. When we connect through our anxiety, we not only start to heal ourselves, we help others do the same. So how do you start? Step 1. Break the silence. Reach out. One message. One call. You don't have to pour your heart out, just open the door. "Hey, can we talk? I've been feeling off lately, and I don't want to keep it bottled up. Do you have space to listen? I don't need solutions, just ears." That's courage. That's healing. Step 2. Choose your safe people. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. Find those who hold space with kindness, not judgment. People who say, "Thank you for sharing," not your overthinking. You'll know them by how your nervous system responds around them. Do you feel more calm or more tense? Your body knows. Step 3. Keep showing up. Connection isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice, a lifeline you build over time. The more you connect, the less power anxiety has over you. Because suddenly, it's not just your battle. You're no longer alone in the storm. Let me say this again, loud and clear. You don't have to heal alone. You weren't meant to. Anxiety wants you to isolate, but healing wants you to connect, to speak, to cry, to laugh again, to remember that you're human and you're worthy of love, even on your hardest days. So today, I invite you to do one thing. Reach out. Send the text. Schedule the session. Open up. Because you might be one honest conversation away from feeling 10 pounds lighter. And when you do, you'll realize that anxiety loses its grip the moment you stop hiding and start being held. Here's something I need you to hear today. You don't have to heal your whole life overnight. You don't have to become fully fixed by the end of this week. You don't have to go from rock bottom to unshakably happy in 24 hours. Healing doesn't work like that. And the truth is, it's not supposed to. Healing, real, deep, sustainable healing is not one big, dramatic transformation. It's not a grand gesture. It's not a moment on a mountaintop. It's not a movie scene. It's the small, quiet decisions you make every single day when no one's watching. And I want to say this clearly. Small daily habits can lead to massive inner change. That's not hype. That's neuroscience. That's nervous system regulation. That's self-respect in motion. Let me ask you this. What if the most powerful shift in your life wasn't a giant leap, but a gentle step? What if healing started not with fixing yourself, but with showing up for yourself in tiny, meaningful ways? Think about this. Waking up 10 minutes earlier just to breathe, to stretch, to greet the day without rushing. Sitting in silence for 5 minutes, letting your breath be your anchor. Writing down your thoughts not to be perfect, but just to hear yourself again. Drinking more water and noticing how your body thanks you for it. Saying no to something that drains you, even when you're scared to disappoint someone. Not replying instantly to every message, because your peace matters too. These are not just wellness tips. These are acts of realignment. These are the moments where you tell your nervous system, hey, you're safe now. We've got this. You don't need a total reset. You need small resets repeated, consistently, with love. Because every time you choose a micro act of self-respect, you build a new identity. Not based on pressure. Not based on perfection. But based on presence. And here's the kicker. You're not going to feel different after day one. That's normal. That's how habits work. But over time, those small shifts add up. They rewire your brain. They regulate your nervous system. They rebuild trust between you and you. So let me ask, what's one small thing you can give yourself permission to do today? What's one quiet boundary you've been afraid to set? What's one habit your future self is already thanking you for if you start it today? Start there. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to meet yourself where you are with gentleness and with commitment. Because when you practice showing up for yourself daily, even in the tiniest ways, your body starts to believe, maybe I am worth caring for. And that is the foundation of healing. Let me share something personal. For a long time, I thought healing meant making big changes. Quitting my job, moving cities, reading 20 self-help books, rewriting my entire life story in one go. But what really changed me? Choosing to meditate for just 3 minutes before checking my phone. Choosing to drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Choosing to leave texts on read if I wasn't ready to respond. Choosing to take 10 deep breaths when my chest tightened instead of spiraling. And you know what? That stuff saved me. Not all at once, but slowly, daily, quietly. So no, you don't need a revolution. You need a rhythm. You need a set of sacred, small practices that whisper to your body, you're not in chaos anymore. I'm here. And I'm listening. And maybe right now you're tired. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you feel like nothing's working. That you've tried everything and you're still stuck. If that's you, breathe. Don't rush your healing. Don't compare your path to anyone else's highlight reel. Just start small. Start today. Start again tomorrow. And again the next day. Healing is not one big moment. It's a series of small, loving choices stacked one on top of the other. And that is enough. So, what will your small step be today? Leave a comment below, share it with the community. Maybe your step becomes someone else's inspiration. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. You've got this. One small shift at a time. Let me offer you a truth that might just change everything. You are not your anxiety. You are not the panic. You are not the racing thoughts. You are not the fear that grips your chest at 3 a.m. You are not the voice that says, I'm not enough. Those things may move through you, yes, but they are not you. Here's what most people never learn. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them. Just take a moment and really let that land. If you can notice your anxiety, If you can step back and observe your fear, your stress, your inner storm, then there's a part of you that exists outside of all of that. A calm, quiet, unshakable part. The watcher. The witness. The conscious you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a thought like, I'm a failure? And then a second later thought, wait, where did that come from? That space between the thought and the noticing. That's you. That's your freedom. When you realize this, a shift begins to happen. You stop believing every thought that floats through your mind. You stop reacting to every wave of emotion like it's an emergency. Instead, you become the sky. And the anxiety, just passing clouds. It might get dark. It might storm for a while. But the sky remains. Still. Deep. Vast. Untouched. That's who you really are. But here's the thing. Most of us have been conditioned to identify with our thoughts. We hear, I'm anxious, I'm broken, I'm not good enough. And we think, that must be true. But it's not. Old stories, worn-out beliefs we inherited, absorbed, or created to survive. You are not broken. You are becoming. One of the most liberating shifts in personal development is this. Moving from identification to observation. Instead of being the anxiety, you learn to witness it. You create just enough space to say, anxiety is present right now, but I am still here. I am still breathing. I am still me. And in that space, that pause, you regain power. Try this the next time your anxiety flares up. Instead of saying, I'm anxious, say, anxiety is visiting me right now. Notice the shift. You go from being consumed by it to gently holding it. You stop drowning in the wave, and you start watching it rise and fall. Because all emotions, even the heavy ones, are temporary visitors. They come. They teach. They pass. But you remain. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It's a practice. A muscle you build over time. You might still get pulled into the spiral sometimes. That's okay. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But the more often you return to the observer within, the calmer your internal world becomes. And here's the deeper truth. There's a part of you that has never been anxious. A part that is wise, still, safe, whole. That part of you is not wounded, not afraid, not fragile. It's your inner awareness. It's your consciousness. It's the place you return to in meditation, in breath, in stillness. And the more you access that space, the less power anxiety holds over you. Not because you've fought it, but because you've stopped identifying with it. So let me ask you, who are you beneath your anxiety? Who are you without the constant noise, the pressure, the inner critic? What if the real you is not the one stuck in survival mode, but the one calmly watching and choosing again? Here's a reminder I come back to often. You are the sky. Your thoughts are just weather. Some days, the forecast is rough. Anxiety storms roll in. But that doesn't mean you are broken. It means something is passing through and your job is simply to watch, breathe, and stay grounded. You don't need to chase every storm. You don't need to fix every thought. You don't need to fear every feeling. You just need to remember who you are beyond it all. So today, if anxiety rises, let it rise. Notice it. Name it. Breathe with it. But don't become it. You are not your anxiety. You are the one witnessing it with compassion, with awareness, with power. And that realization, that's where freedom begins. Let's come back to where we started. Maybe someone once told you, anxiety is all in your head. Maybe you believed them. Or maybe you've spent years trying to fight it, to silence it, to push it down and power through. But now, you know something different. Now, you know the truth. Anxiety isn't just a thought. It's not just overthinking. It's not weakness. And it's definitely not your fault. Anxiety lives in the body, in the breath, in the stories we carry. in the ways we've learned to survive. It lives in the childhood moments we never got to process, in the daily habits that disconnect us from our own needs, in the pressure to perform, please, perfect instead of pause and feel. But here's the beautiful thing. If your body learned anxiety, it can also learn peace. If it learned to brace for danger, it can learn to soften into safety. And that learning doesn't start with more pressure. It doesn't start with more doing. It doesn't start with fixing. It starts with compassion. It starts with you choosing, today, to be on your own side. To meet your anxiety, not with judgment, but with curiosity. To say to yourself, I may not be there yet, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to try. So here's my invitation to you as we close this journey. Treat yourself like someone you love, not someday, not when you've healed, not when the anxiety is gone, but right now, as you are. Because the truth is you don't have to be perfect to deserve peace. You don't have to be fearless to be free. You just have to be willing to begin. And maybe that beginning looks like saying no to something that drains you, taking 5 deep breaths before opening your inbox, journaling your truth without trying to edit it, drinking water when your body's been begging for care, speaking to a friend and letting them really see you. Or maybe it's just one conscious breath. Right now. Breathe in. Breathe out. That's a beginning too. Because healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's invisible to everyone else, but undeniable to your soul. Every moment you choose gentleness over judgment. Every moment you pause instead of panic. Every time you show up for yourself. That is healing. And no, you're not behind. You're not too far gone. You're not doing it wrong. You're simply on a path back home to yourself. So if your anxiety has been screaming for your attention, here's your answer. You're listening now. You're showing up. You're growing stronger. You're not alone. And you're not broken. You are becoming. Let's leave with this reminder. You don't have to do it all today. But today you can take one small step, one breath, one kind thought, one deeper connection. Let that be enough. Let that be powerful. Because it is. And if no one's told you this in a while, let me say it now. You are stronger than your anxiety. You are more than your fear. You are deeply, profoundly worthy of peace, not someday, but today. And every time you come back to yourself, every time you listen within, every time you choose love over fear, you are healing. So wherever you are right now, whatever you're carrying, take a breath, place your hand on your heart, and remind yourself, I am safe, I am growing, I am returning to myself one moment at a time. You've got this. You're not walking this road alone. You're part of something bigger, something human, something honest, something healing. And I'm proud of you. Truly. If this series has touched you, helped you, or reminded you that you're not alone, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small way you're choosing peace today? And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone stuck in the storm, share this video with them. You never know who it might set free. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to keep walking this journey together. More stories, more truth, more healing coming soon.